It has been about 2 weeks since the release of the iPhone 17 Pro Max at the time of the recording of this video. And I have a flight to catch that I'll take this phone with me to test out and test out the cameras, but we still have just a little bit of time. So let's go over like the first 2 weeks of the usage and why I feel like it's a little bit disappointing, at least to me, why this is not what I expected. And while there are things to love about this iPhone 17 Pro Max, and there's a lot of things that are pretty good on it, there's also a lot of things that are negative, especially in my opinion, coming from phones that are maybe not available in your region. And while this video might seem a little bit negative, it is because usually we as humans, we focus on things that just bother us and just aren't in the way we wish it was. Let's just say it's like my first impression, first thoughts after 2 weeks of using this. And especially for someone that comes from Android phones and never really used Apple iPhones. So really quickly, let's just go over things that I noticed through the whole 2 weeks since the release. The battery, while it is an improvement over the older iPhones, I feel like even coming from Xiaomi 14 Ultra, which was known to be a horrible battery, to be honest, I don't feel much of a difference. It really seems to be almost the same. The only way I see that it's better is the discharge rate through the night, where I take screenshots before going to sleep and then seeing how it is in the morning. And so far in that regard, it is a better phone. During like the daily usage, really feels pretty much the same, even though I'm coming from a phone that is known to be not that good in terms of battery life. Also, the UI and just the usability of the smartphone is just not convenient. I feel like the gestures are pretty nice and everything once you get used to it. I still feel like the triple buttons on the bottom that we have on the Xiaomi or other Android devices is just the more convenient of the two. While you can have the gestures on the Xiaomi and other Androids, you can turn it off and you can have the buttons, which are, in my opinion, a superior way to do things. They're just much more easier to use, faster to use. You never have to look on the website or whatever is on your screen to where you can go back. You just use the back button and you're back to the place you were. It's just much more convenient, where the gestures are nice, but they're just not as convenient, and every website, every different app might work a little bit different. And it's not the matter of not being used to it, I just feel like it's the better of the two. And in iOS, you can't really change that. Another thing is the camera on the back. I was really expecting it to be something that would be so happy to go for an iPhone. I always thought that the iPhones had like this picture perfect, the social media ready photos that the Androids never really had. But it seems like the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, whenever I test it with the iPhone, even though this is like the last year's model, I'm actually more towards the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. It looks a little bit more saturated, a little bit more contrast. Just straight out of the camera, it feels like it's much nicer photo that I would probably say most people would love it too. It's just more, camera-like. It's a little bit, the Leica profiles on this are incredible, and the photos look really, really good, especially in the vibrant during the day. Everything is a little bit more saturated, everything is a little bit more contrasty, and just feels like side by side. I'm usually gonna go for the Xiaomi's, which is a hard pill to swallow because I was hoping that this was actually gonna be better than Xiaomi, or at least being something that is more social media ready, something that maybe isn't better in pixel peeping, but when you use it in everyday situations, you're gonna feel like this is better. I'm gonna have to give it to Apple for nice usability in terms of like the color grading. If you take the photo and edit it for just even 20 seconds, it's gonna look perfect. You have a lot of room to play with, but at the same time, you could probably do that too here. So I'm just looking at this like a straight out of the camera, and I'm looking at this with a little bit of additions. I just feel like it's not as good as expected. And especially it's the colors for me. I feel like the colors tend to go a lot into the greens that I just don't like on photos. It feels like it's a little bit too much green or sometimes orange, and it doesn't feel as natural or as good looking when looking at the photos. Where the Xiaomi is much more natural, the color sense feels better, just more accurate, but at the same time, this is just not as vibrant in my opinion. And one thing I'm missing is the pro features on the photo. We can go into the video and we can even shoot in ProRes RAW, which is just like incredible. You can also shoot in RAW photos, but then you cannot change the settings, which is just a, kind of like the middleman is being cut out here, because we don't have the settings, but you can shoot in RAW, you can shoot in ProRes in video, which is just, incredible. You can do that in the Blackmagic app, which is nice, but I feel like the photo app should have things like that if someone wants to. Like, there should be an extra space for a pro feature, something that the Xiaomi's and other, Android devices have. And if you don't want that, you don't have to use it. But just having the photographic styles is nice, but it's just not the same thing. And I'm still looking for the perfect settings for this to really make it just, to make it really just a everyday shooter, just really quickly snap a photo and it's ready to go. I feel like it's always have to be a little bit, moving a little bit that way, photo style this way, exposure in another direction. It's just all over the place. We're going on a trip in just a couple of hours, so this will be a nice test for it. I'm gonna have the Xiaomi with me, so I can snip a little bit of photos with this and that, but I'm still gonna be using this as a daily to really force myself to use it and review it as good as possible. So if there's anything that you would like to know about this phone and that maybe you're not sure about it, maybe you want to ask something, let me know in the comment section down below. Another thing is the CarPlay and Android Auto. The Android Auto, I'm used to it for a couple of months at this point, where the CarPlay seems to be the same, but like a little bit slower, a little bit more laggy version of that. It just seems to be a little bit less customizable. You cannot do as much, and it's the same thing as with the settings on the iPhone. Just there's a lot of things that you can kind of change, but you have to go through whole different settings that you would ever think to do. So yeah, it could be better. I feel like it's better on the Android Auto, at least in my case. It maybe just has to be me getting used to it. Also the width. Well, it's a nice phone in hand, it feels really good. It's a premium product by all means, and the screen is beautiful. The slab design on it is pretty nice. I have to say that there's one thing that I'm missing here, and that is the width. It's a little bit too big. I know you're gonna say get the Pro, not the Pro Max, but I feel like it's nice for everyday usage. But then when you want to come back to something and you want to, for example, you have to press the X button on the top left corner, but you're using your right hand, there's no way to get it. I have to, try to fiddle around with the phone. Where on something like the Xiaomi Ultra, not only I can just use the buttons on the bottom, I can also just easily go to the other side of the phone, where it's much harder on the iPhone. So the width and size is both a big plus and a big minus in my opinion. And last but not least is the music and the folders of this. Many times on the flights, when I am last minute thinking about music I wanted to listen to through that flight, I will download the music straight to my phone and then go straight to the music app, even if I download something from YouTube. For this, well, if you're using Spotify and all of those different things, you're gonna probably not care about that. But if you don't do it, the only way to get the music into the music app on this, if you have the music on your laptop, for example, is you have to actually go on your laptop, go into music app on your laptop, connect the phone, and then sync to it, which is just so many unnecessary steps to have something that is a basic feature on other smartphones. So right now I'm in like this phase where I'm kind of heartbroken in a way, because I'm still hoping this kind of can be better. I still feel like I'm really trying to love this thing, but I guess we will see where it goes. And stay tuned for my 1 month Android user's perspective review of the smartphone. If there's anything you'd like to know about it or are thinking about it, let me know in the comment section down below so that I can make sure to answer all of your questions. Oh, and by the way, talking about the music, the speakers on this smartphone are incredible. Like, I have to say this, the speakers are really like full. The bass is definitely there, so that is a big plus of this iPhone. Like I said, this video might seem negative. I'm just focusing on the first impressions and the things that really bother me in that phone, but I guess this trip in just a couple of hours is gonna be the real test of how I feel about it. But like I said, I'm trying to make it a daily, so I'm not just using it for like a couple photos. I really want to take 1,000 photos through that trip and really go through the paces of how it is, how the battery is, how the software is, when I get even more used to it, the photos, the videos. And because we're going to a nice place, the cameras should work pretty nice. So I'm gonna have a lot of time to play around with this and hopefully make this work as good as possible. But I guess we will see in just 2 weeks time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.